Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Paramahamsa, Parivrajikacharya, Ashtotarashatta, Shri Shrimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Iskcon founder, BBD founder, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Parivrajikacharya, Ashtotarashatta, Shri Shrimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Gaho, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Gopa Gopinath, Shyamakunda Radha Kunda, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Navadik Dham Ki Jai. Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Shri Shri Radha Nilamadhava ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Giridhari ki Giriraj Govardhan ki Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki Srila Prabhupada ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Shinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hridyantasto Hyabadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Nashtaprayeshu Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Yutamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 83, Draupadi meets the queens of Krishna, and we're on the last text of the chapter, text 43. Vraja striyo yadvanchanti pulindyastrina virudaha Gavaschara yato gopa padasparsham mahatmanaha vrajastriyo yadvanchanti pulindyastrina virudaha Gavaschara yato gopa Padasparsham Mahatmanaha. Please chant. Rajastriya Yadvanchanti Pulindastrina Virudaha Gavaschara Yato Gopa Padasparsham Mahatmanaha Rajastriya Yadvanchanti Pulindastrina Virudaha. Matajis. Rajastriya Yadvanchanti Vraja of Vraj Striya, the women, yet as Vanchanti, they desire, Pulindyaha, the women of the Aborigine Pulinda tribe in Vraj. Trina, from the grass, Virudaha, and plants. Gavaha, the cows. Charayataha, who is grazing. Gopaha, the cowherd boys. Pada, of the feet. Sparsham, the touch. Mahatmanaha, of the Supreme Soul. Translation: we desire the same contact with the Supreme Lord's feet that the young women of Vraj, the cowherd boys, and even the Aborigine Pulinda women desire. The touch of the dust he leaves on the plants and grass as he tends his cows. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti reminds us of the jealous rivalry that always existed between the queens of Dwaraka and the gopis of Vraj. The gopis considered the sophisticated women of Dwaraka the most serious threat to their hold on Sri Krishna, confessing their anxiety to Uddhava. Kasmat Krishna ihayati prapta rajyo hatahita Narendra Kanya Udvaya. Why should Krishna come back here after winning a kingdom, killing his enemies, and marrying the daughters of kings? Bhagavatam 10:47-45. Rukmini and her 7 chief co-wives consider themselves so fortunate in their relationship with Krishna, as he appeared in Dwarka, that they did not especially desire to see him as he is in Vrindavan. But the 16,000 lesser queens, after hearing Uddhava describe Sri Radha's super excellent qualities, became attracted to touch the dust that falls from Krishna's feet onto the grass and plants of Vrindavan. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti indicates that some commentators give this as the reason why, after the Maushala Leela, these 16,000 queens were stolen from Arjuna on the road by Lord Krishna himself, in the guise of 16,000 cowherds, who then took them away to Gokul. Thus end the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to the 10th canto, 83rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Draupadi Meets the Queens of Krishna. Jai. Hari Bol. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakadamayam Darati Swaparantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Panchakapatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhurevacha Paritanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, previous verse said, O saintly lady, we do not desire dominion over the earth, the sovereignty of the King of Heaven, unlimited facility for enjoyment, mystic power, the position of Lord Brahma, immortality, or even attainment of the kingdom of God. We simply desire to carry on our heads the glorious dust of Lord Krishna's feet, enriched by the fragrance of kumkum from his consort's bosom. And in the purport, we hear that is Srimati Radharani. Because the verse Brihad Gautamiya Tantra is from the Brihad Gautamiya Tantra is quoted. Actually, our acharyas are saying this. Srila Vishwanath and Jiva Goswami and Sridhar Swami. So, so then in today's verse, the touch of the dust he leaves on the plants and grass as he tends the cows. This is also described in chapter 21 of the 10th canto. The gopis attracted to Krishna's flute, the flute song. Venu Gita, actually it's called. And Shiva Ram Maharaj has a book about that, specifically this chapter 21. And the gopis explain how the aboriginal Pulinda women who live, near Vrindavan, in Vrindavan, sort of, they take that dust that Krishna from Krishna's lotus feet, the dust from his feet, they take it and swipe it up off the ground and rub it all over their heads and breasts. And it's said that relieves all of their material lust. And it's said that this dust from Krishna's lotus feet is red with kumkum because his feet are being held by the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani, on their breasts. And they are embracing them, massaging them, serving Krishna's feet. And so that kumkum powder gets onto Krishna's feet. And then that same dust mixed with the kumkum powder from the gopis purifies all the material lust of these aboriginal girls. So this is often quoted by acharyas to show that the the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis is completely transcendental. It has no connection with material lust or sexuality, because it is actually curing material lust and sexuality. It's actually uprooting it. It gives people, it frees one from that material lust. What is in the gopis' hearts? What is that kumkum powder actually is? It's all imbued with their pure love for Krishna. And so by getting a touch of that, one also gets pure love for Krishna. And that's the most exquisite thing in the universe, is prema. That's what we should strive for. It's actually in this Chaitanya Charitamrita, 3 most powerful substances are available. The water that washes the feet of a devotee, the foot dust of a devotee, and the food remnants left by a devotee. These 3 substances are the most powerful substances in the universe. So here we see that also this dust from Krishna's feet is mixed with this kumkum powder from the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani's bosom. And so that is also a very particularly powerful substance. And it's being desired by these aboriginal girls, it's being desired by the cowherd boys, it's being desired by all the gopis themselves, which is very interesting. And now it's being desired by the queens of Dwarka. And the queens of Dwarka, Krishna's the main queens, the main 8 chief co-wives of Krishna in Dwarka are pretty elevated. So they're pretty satisfied with their relationship with Krishna. In fact, they're a little bit, Krishna wakes up in the night and is chanting, the names of the gopis and other residents of Vrindavan in his sleep. And, he's like crying in his sleep in separation. So the queens are a little bit, not happy about this. They feel a little bit heartbroken or what have you. So, in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, translated by Gopi Pranahari Prabhu, edited by Jayadvaita Maharaj and Keshav Bharati Maharaj, and sanctioned by Srila Prabhupada to be translated. He said if one wants to know the relationship between the Lord and his devotees and what is actually bhakti, one must read this book. So in that book, Srila Sanatana Goswami describes a scene where Krishna is he's lamenting. He's locked up in his room. He won't come out. We read recently in the 10th canto, chapter 71, I think, about Krishna's daily activities. We hear that as soon as that rooster crows, Krishna gets up, and the queens curse the rooster because, they're with Krishna in an embrace, and then Krishna gets up promptly at what time? Brahma Muhurta, bright and early, or dark and early, we should say. And he does Gayatri, meditates on himself, he bathes, he does fire yoga, he does so many daily activities, So this day, Krishna did not do any of that. It was very unusual. Krishna stayed in his room till late in the morning. And so Narada Muni is the one who's coming upon this scene, and it's quite a scene, basically. Everyone's concerned. Krishna's parents are there, Vasudeva and Devaki, Rohini, Balaram's mother, the queens, Uddhava, Balaram. They're all there. They're very concerned about Krishna. And they're talking about how Krishna's in separation from the residents of Vrindavan. And on one side we see that, Balaram is taking the side of the Vrajavasis and saying that, if Krishna actually loved the Vrindavan Vasis, if he actually loved the residents of Vrindavan, he would have gone back there a long time ago. Uddhava was there too. See, Balaram and Uddhava had just visited Vrindavan recently. So they knew the situation there. They knew these people are going to die without Krishna. They're going to all die. They're already dying. Some of them already died. And Krishna, why hasn't he come? Why hasn't he gone? And but the queens were saying, believe me, he has a lot of attachment to the residents of Vrindavan. And like I said, he's always chanting the gopis' names in his sleep. He's always chanting his cows' names in his sleep. He's crying to his Nanda and Yashoda. He's very attached to them, the queens are saying. And Balaram's taking the side, said, no. He said, you can know the true heart of a man by what he does, what his actions are, not what he says with his mouth. You can actually know someone's heart, what they do, not what they speak. Words are cheap, as they say. So it's a pretty amazing transcendental Leela of Krishna's. And then Krishna comes out and reveals it. He says, yes, you're right. I have no love for the residents of Vrindavan. My heart's like diamond. His heart is diamond. I would have gone back long ago. And then he faints in ecstasy. And there's a whole other pastime that ensues. But later on, Krishna tells his queens, actually, about how he only married them because they reminded him of the gopis. Yeah, imagine that. And he said that the gopis you have no idea. You have no idea. And so he's glorifying all the residents of Vrindavan, specifically the gopis, specifically Srimati Radharani. And so what is it? I mean, we might ask ourselves, I can't even control my senses. What business do I have to try to understand the mood of the residents of Vrindavan? And that's a good question. Yeah, we should definitely try to control our senses. But we should also understand what we read. If we are reading Prabhupada's books, obviously this verse is completely about the residents of Vrindavan and the gopis specifically. So we should try to understand what is it actually that's special about them. Prabhupada says it's the spontaneous attraction to Krishna. They have a natural, spontaneous, unalloyed affection for Krishna that hides any, envelops any aspect of Krishna due to the Aishvarya mood, the mood of awe and reverence. And so that's very advanced. That's a very advanced platform. On one level, here in the material world, conditioned souls just treat Krishna like an ordinary person too. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, avajananti mamuda manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajanato. How is it? Mama bhuta maheshwaram? Yeah, thank you. That the foolish, the mudas, they don't know me. They think that I've come in I'm just in a human body. Like the Mayavadis, they think, yeah, the Supreme Brahman is the real thing. The impersonal Brahman is the real thing, and Krishna is just Maya. they don't understand that actually Krishna's body and Krishna himself are both spiritual and the same. And so in the material world, the conditioned souls are also thinking Krishna is just an ordinary person, And the step up from that is understanding, no, Krishna is God. He's transcendental. His body is made of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. He doesn't have a body like us, made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. He doesn't have a subtle body made of mind, intelligence, false ego. His mind and himself are non-different. His body and himself are non-different. Angani yasya sakalendriya vritti manti. We sing that every morning. Brahma Samhita. That all of his limbs perform the functions of all his other senses. So he can eat with his eyes, he can, impregnate with his glands, he can, whatever. He can taste with his finger if he wants. Krishna can do anything. So his body is not like a material body. But then at another level, at an even higher level, the residents of Vrindavan are so overwhelmed with pure affection for Krishna that they don't know, like it doesn't become an impetus for awe and reverence. Krishna's greatness is overshadowed by his sweetness in Vrindavan. So this is the supreme aspect of Godhead. This is actually the supreme aspect of Godhead. And it's rarely attained. It's rarely attained. It's not easy to approach Krishna in the mood of the residents of Vrindavan, spontaneous devotional service. It's not cheap. We can't just do it. We can't just elevate ourselves to Rag Marg by our, whatever. Just we choose. Today I'm not going to do Vaidhi Bhakti. I'm just going to do Rag Marg. That doesn't work like that. Actually, one has to actually feel spontaneous attraction for Krishna by the mercy of Krishna and his devotees, and also by one's sincere desire to have it, lalyam, one's greed. So one's not going to actually feel an intense greed for Krishna if he doesn't have any taste for Krishna at all. So thus we do the Vaidhi Bhakti, because when we do Vaidhi Bhakti, we're actually in contact with Krishna. We're chanting Krishna's names. It's enjoyable. If we do it correctly, if we're not falling asleep at every minute, like sometimes I am, if we do everything in the proper way, if we do the Vaidhi Bhakti in the proper prescribed ways, this is rules and regulations, following the footsteps of the acharyas, then you actually do get a taste. You actually think, this is nice. Krishna's nice. I like Krishna more than I like, my sense gratification. I like to serve Krishna prasadam more than I like to just enjoy the food myself. I like to, give Krishna nice clothes, beautiful decorations, rather than, spend an hour and a half, 2 hours in the mirror myself. So that becomes the center of our lives. Krishna's pleasure and Krishna's sense gratification rather than ours. And that, our acharyas say that this will gradually develop into a deeper and deeper attachment and deeper hankering for Krishna's personal service. And so we see the queens here have come in contact, and this is the other important thing. It says in the purport that they've heard from Uddhava. They've heard from Uddhava. In the chapter on the Yogic Brahmanas, Krishna says, you go home. The wives of the Yogic Brahmanas came to give Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys so many nice eatables. And they wanted to stay with Krishna. They were attracted to Krishna. They didn't want to go. They were finished with everything else they were finished with. They were ready to just, live in the forest and be Krishna's maidservants. But Krishna said, no, you got to go back. And he said, actually, the process to attain me is not to be in proximity, physical proximity to me. It's actually to hear about me, and it's not in this volume, but it's hear about me and worship my deity form and associate with my devotees, things like this. Krishna said. He said, that's actually how you attain me. This is actually how you get the desire to attain me. And in fact, that's what they were doing all along. They'd never seen Krishna. They heard about him. Sometimes at the marketplace, they would mix with the other residents of Vrindavan, the gopis, and they would be always talking about Krishna, of course. So then they'd get attracted, like, wow, I want to meet Krishna. So this is actually how we get, this is actually what mercy is you got to get the mercy of a devotee. One who has pure love of Krishna can give it to others. And so if we serve that person, if we associate with them, then they're more favorable. They're favorably disposed towards us. We get Krishna's grace. We actually get that same attraction. Narada Muni, right? He got the remnants left by the Bhakti Vedantists, and he served them. And by their association, he also developed a taste for hearing Krishna Katha. We say, how does it go? Shushu Shro Shradana Sya Vasudeva Katha Ruchi Syan Mahat Sevya Vipra Punya Tirtana Shevanat. This is the verse that precedes Srinvata Swakata Krishna in the second chapter of the first canto. And this verse means that one who hears and renders service to faithfully the devotees, the pure devotees of Krishna, then they get a taste. Vasudeva Katha Ruchi. They get a taste for Vasudeva Katha, for Krishna Katha. They get a taste for hearing about Krishna. And then Srinvata Swakata Krishna, that by hearing about Krishna, by engaging in that hearing process, one which is pious, which is actually itself pious activity, then one gets, how's it go? Their heart gets purified. Vidunoti surit satam. And then nashtaprayashu bhadrishu. So then by regularly hearing and attending classes in the Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam, then one actually, and rendering service unto the pure devotees, everything inauspicious in the heart is gradually destroyed. And then one's freed from modes of passion and ignorance, established firmly in the mode of goodness, and then they're getting a taste for Krishna. They become transcendental, and they actually get a taste for spiritual life. Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai. So, we need a balanced diet. The balanced diet, spiritually speaking. Just like if you only eat cookies, you won't be very healthy. So if you only read about certain sections of the Bhagavatam, you only read about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, and you don't read any of the previous 9 cantos. You don't read Bhagavad Gita. I've heard someone say this, that I don't like the Bhagavatam because there's too much Vaikuntha Bhav. That's called Sahaja. That's a Sahaja. It's an offense too. It's very clear we have to hear Krishna Katha. We have to hear about Krishna in all his aspects. Prabhupada says that hearing about Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra is just as attractive to a pure devotee as Krishna's rasa dance. It's just as attractive to a pure devotee. And to someone mundane, it might not be as attractive. This is boring. But so this is the indicator that one's not a pure devotee if they're not attracted to hearing about, well, the creation of the universe, which is a big topic in the Bhagavatam, said over and over again. Have we? I mean, this topic's been relevant lately, brought up. Are we really understanding? Have we really realized we are not our body? Is there a time when you graduate from the Bhagavad Gita and you no longer need to read it? I don't think so. Prabhupada never stopped reading Bhagavad Gita. The pure devotees relish this stuff. Pure devotees relish it more. That's the difference. Is at our stage, at my stage, the conditioned soul stage, it's very hard to relish anything. But at a pure devotee, it's not that they graduate and do something else. It's actually they get a deeper understanding, a deeper relish, a more personal context for the knowledge, for the literature, for the pastimes. So again, just getting back to this, we're hearing that the queens, those 16,000 queens, they actually heard about Krishna in Vrindavan from Uddhava, who had this experience of being there. And they heard about the super excellent qualities of Sri Radha. So by that hearing process, they developed a greed. They're developing a greed here for the dust of Krishna's feet that's mixed with the kumkum from Srimati Radharani's bosom. So we have to hear and associate with devotees and qualify ourselves and serve the devotees. So when we follow the process of bhakti, actually, when we follow it, we're actually serving the devotees by doing that. What is Prabhupada's order? It's read my books every day. Read systematically. Don't just jump to the 10th canto. Read all my books. That includes the small ones, even. Prabhupada says, he gives us a healthy diet. Go to Mangalarti, do the morning program. Have an evening program. Drink hot milk. Read Krishna book. Go on Sankirtan. So Prabhupada gives us a nice balanced diet, and by following his instructions, we're actually serving him. This is service to a pure devotee. By that service, we'll get an eagerness to hear. Krishna will purify our hearts so that the hearing is not just we heard all the books, we read them all, and I didn't understand any of it. I still am a big puffed up loser or something. No. That might be so, but nevertheless, these books, hearing and associating with devotees, should have an effect on the heart. And it really depends on the service attitude. And that service attitude starts with these rules and regulations. I'm just trying to make this bridge between today's very elevated verse and topic and where we may find ourselves. That we can actually be connected to this verse and this purport by seriously, sincerely, strictly following the instructions of the spiritual master. And so, we hear this stuff because we're hearing the goal. We should be attracted to the goal. If we're not attracted to the goal of prema, why should we even do anything? Why even get out of bed, I have to do it. Well, it's better than nothing, but that's not going to last very long, I'll tell you that much. The fact that I have to get up in the morning to go to Mangalarti, I have to chant my rounds, I have to do it, that's not going to last very long. The conditioned soul needs some joy, some juice. So we have to also understand, we have to hear the books, we have to hear about why am I doing this? I'm doing this because this is going to link me to the spiritual masters, the acharyas, the pure devotees, and they have a real taste. So I can also be bestowed a taste by their mercy. So I'm going to endeavor my very hardest to follow their instructions. Their instructions are not just to chant 16 rounds. That's not That's not the instruction. The instruction is to chant at least 16 attentive and offenseless rounds. So the fact is, I haven't even fulfilled that instruction at all. But we have to try. To fulfill that instruction should be our goal. Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese Uttama Gati. The supreme goal is attachment to the lotus feet of our spiritual master. That's the supreme goal. So how good are we doing in fulfilling those instructions? It's not just come to Mangalarti, just show up. You get credit, but it's not the instruction. That's not the full instruction. You get half credit. The full instruction is know what you're doing. Do it with your heart and soul. Be attentive while we do it. So the fact is, I haven't done that personally. I have not fulfilled the instruction of the spiritual master. But in association with devotees, there's constant reminder that we should be striving for that. We have to try every day. And by that service, by that intention, by that effort, then this taste for hearing, this proper hearing occurs, the heart actually gets cleansed, and so on and so forth. One gets freed from the modes. So Krishna kind of gives you a thumbs up sometimes. You get a little taste in your japa because you tried. You woke up early, you tried, you get a little taste. Krishna, that's a thumbs up from Krishna, like, yeah, do this more. This is the right way to go. You were feeling a little sick, you kind of just wanted to take the day off and sleep, but hey, you went on books anyways. Then you have like an amazing day. It's like a thumbs up from Krishna saying, yeah, I'm pleased by your effort, actually. And so if we do our effort in the right mood of a servant, and not that I'm going to lord it over all the other devotees by being the best, then one can actually get some reciprocation, and that reciprocation will increase our taste, increase our hankering. It's like a free sample. It's like you're standing in line, for instance, and the line's really long, or you're waiting for your ticket to be called, or I don't know, this is a bad metaphor, I'm just making it up on the spot. But, you're about to leave, you're about to go, and they come and give you a free sample. Like, hey, don't get out of the line just now, just here, try out our new caramel or whatever, caramel lollipop, and you take a little sample and you're like, it's really, really good. Actually, there's nothing else better than this. I'm going to stay in line and wait it out a little longer. It's a long wait, but I'm going to keep waiting. So Krishna does that. He'll give us the free samples to encourage us to stay in the process. I'll stop there if there's any corrections, questions, comments, reflections on today's verse and purport. Bhakta Marcus Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you for class. So how does one offer, I guess, their Vaidhi Bhakti to Krishna? Because much of the time I feel like it's a lone endeavor on my end, and I know part of that's me just not having a taste, but that's the extent to what I know. How does one truly offer their Vaidhi Bhakti to Krishna with the right mentality?
Well, if we're hearing enough, and we have some desire for Krishna consciousness, then we can reflect and say, wow, I did everything, all my devotional activities today with no taste. And you can just say, Krishna, I didn't think of you once. I didn't, I was very selfish. I just, I didn't honor prasadam, I just ate it like an animal. I was fruitive. I was just totally not Krishna conscious. So one could still say, hey, that conscious, I've arrived at this Krishna consciousness right now. I'm thinking, oh my God, I wasn't Krishna conscious. So at that moment you can say, you can be Krishna conscious and offer it. I've had all these things, let me offer it now, Krishna. Even though I didn't do it at those times, let me at least offer. There's a verse in the 11th canto that, I'm not going to remember the Sanskrit, but it says something like that, and it's recommended in our Pancharatra Pradeep, actually. It's quoted as something you can say before bed. It's like a prayer to the Lord Narayan, like, let me offer everything I've said, said with my speech, thought with my mind, acted with my body. Let me offer it all to you. That's it. It's in one of the Yogendras speaking to Maharaj Nimi in the 11th canto. Yeah, it's a wonderful verse, actually. We should say it every night. If I was saying it every night, I would have known it. Not that he's probably praying to Krishna like this. So that's one way. And the thing is, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti because we don't have a taste. If you had like a taste all the time, you'd kind of be moving more towards the Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. There's no difference between Raganuga and Vaidhi. The only difference is the taste. So, the fact that we don't want to do bhakti yoga is meaning we don't have a taste, we're not very advanced. But still, that's okay. Most people are like that. I mean, the fact that we're still doing it is what's going to give us the taste. So just do it sincerely. Know why you're doing it, do it sincerely, and that effort can be, is offered to Krishna. If done just like that, it is offered to Krishna. Everything you're doing is offered to Krishna. But I think the point you're making is, how do I consciously offer it to Krishna? And I think this is one way that I have come about is, when we do think of Krishna, like, oh, I didn't do anything for Krishna today. I haven't even thought of Krishna. Chanted 16 rounds, didn't even think of Krishna once. Then you can chant more rounds. Redo your rounds, that's an option sometimes. Or you can just, start thinking of Krishna now. And start offering what you have already done to Krishna and what you are doing and what you will do. I hope that helps. If anyone else has some suggestions too, please share. Anything? Is that okay? Or okay. Patrick.
In a conversation last night, we were hearing a little bit about weeds growing up with the bhakti creeper. We were hearing about purifying through Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti today, and I was just wondering how we can be sure that we're actually weeding out these things that could be growing with the bhakti creeper. How to make sure that we're not letting anything come unnoticed.
That's a great question. That's a fantastic question. Stay in the association of devotees is the number one thing. If you're not in the association of devotees, you can think you're a real sadhu, but then as soon as you get in the association and someone says, Prabhu, whatever they tell you, give you a little chastisement or something, and you get all angry. Who are you to tell me? That means actually you've been watering a nice little weed along with your bhakti creeper called false prestige and desire for honor and respect and stuff, because someone who doesn't have that weed won't react like that. They're humble, they're purified. So association of devotees, basically in good association, we can't really let those weeds grow very long. It's like on books, you go and have a huge day and you get puffed up. It's like you've done bhakti, but then you got puffed up because of the bhakti. So that means you've watered the weed, and if you're in the association of devotees, it's going to come out pretty soon. I'm going to notice, someone's going to notice, and be like, it's going to create some friction. And that friction is good. That's a good thing. because it's purifying. Krishna's kind. He doesn't let us get away with nonsense. He doesn't let us get away with it. He will if we leave this, if we stop trying, if we, exit the playing field, so to speak. But as long as we're on the playing field, Krishna's going to help us. And you'd be surprised if you pray to Krishna, help me uproot these weeds in the heart. Wow, you better be ready. It's like when you get sick, you have a vomit bag nearby. Right? Stomach ache, you have a vomit bag. Is that a thing? Bucket or something. Yeah, you better, have some strong sadhana, have some good association, because Krishna will do that. And we need a little guidance, too, to deal with our nartana vritti. It's a nartana vritti stage, actually. We need guidance for that. And again, offenseless chanting. As soon as we commit offenses while chanting, then there's every possibility that the weeds will be watered and be let to grow. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is quoted in one of those purports in Madhya Lila, chapter 19, Mahaprabhu's instruction to Rupa Goswami, where this topic is talked about, the garden of the heart. Cultivating the bhakti lata. And in that he's quoted as saying that if one's not trying to get free from the 10 offenses, then one is surely watering the weeds of the heart. So that takes conscientiousness. That takes a conscious effort. That I'm not free from the 10, but I'm trying. Every time I chant Hare Krishna, I'm trying to do it offensively. I'm trying. And that's, we can't just raise it. It's not a rubber stamp, like I'm trying, I'm a devotee. No, it's actually a matter of the heart. Am I trying? Could I try better? So this is an internal process. Are we trying? We got to be really self-reflective and introspective and take guidance from senior devotees who can say, you could try better like this, or, I really see that you're not trying, or, you're trying, but, here's an opportunity to try more. So I think that's an important thing too. Anything else? Vishal Prabhu.
Haribol, thank you. So you mentioned that we can recite some prayers before taking rest at night. So I heard a class by Vaisheshika Prabhu. He was saying that he shared something what he recites before he takes rest at night.
Is it Ishopanishad text
18.
mantra 18?
18, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So he says, "O my Lord, as powerful as fire, O omnipotent one, now I offer you all obeisances, falling on the ground at your feet. O my Lord, please lead me on the right path to reach you. And since you know all that I've done in the past, please free me from the reactions to my past sins so that there will be no hindrance to my progress." He says that every night. That's what he said in class.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a great purport, by the way, there, Prabhupada writes, to that mantra. Mantra 18 of the Ishopanishad, the last one. Fantastic purport. And yeah, I like saying that one too. Yeah, reciting prayers is nice, when we hear something like some prayers that some devotees offering, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Queen Kunti, the queens, the kings. Throughout the Bhagavatam, there's literally unlimited depth and so many countless prayers that we can actually recite ourselves and try to enter into that mood, and that's very beneficial. So, enter into the Vandanam is helpful.
One more question.
Okay.
So, one time Keshava Bharat Maharaj gave the Bhagavatam reading, and he said that these are dripping with nectar, right? So I was thinking, wow, I'm trying to get out of class. I'm thinking, when's this going to end? And he's thinking, this is dripping with nectar. So how can we get to that level where we actually relish the Bhagavatam? How can you get to that stage where I live for this Bhagavatam, man? I want to do this every day, 24/7. How can we get to that stage? What's one sentence you could say that we can get to that stage?
Well, one thing is, there's a lot of things that could be said perhaps, but one thing that I thought of was the verse by Queen Kunti, Janmaishvarya Shruta Shri Bir, Edamana Madapuman, Naivar Hatyabidat Tumvai, Twamakinchana Gocharam. That those who are puffed up with high birth, material wealth and opulence, high learning, beautiful bodily features. Those who are puffed up with these things, they cannot feelingly call out to Krishna. They cannot feelingly chant the Lord's name. And so that's the point here that's being brought up by you, is that how do we feel something? How do we actually like Krishna? How do we like chanting? How do we like hearing about Krishna? And it says that only those who are materially exhausted, who don't have any material possessions in this world, they can feelingly call out. And that doesn't mean you have nothing in the physical sense. You have nothing that you consider as yours. Everything's for Krishna's service. It's a mentality. Ambarish Maharaj was an Akinchana Bhakta. He had everything, though. He had the whole world. He had many wives. But he was more Akinchana. He was more materially impoverished or exhausted than Durvasa Muni, who actually had nothing. But he was puffed up. He was holding on to something for himself. So when we can actually develop that consciousness of putting Krishna in the center and having, feeling materially exhausted, then we can actually taste something when we hear. And another very practical thing, is the last thing, is we read for Jagannath Ananda Prabhu, who's, his health is leaving, and so he's preparing for leaving the body. And being so close to someone who's about to leave the body is extremely medicinal. It's an extremely medicinal thing. Because I'll say, when I was reading, that made such a difference. I was reading every word. It became so much more potent. Because that's our test. Ante Narayana Smriti. Are we going to remember Krishna at the time of death? Have I established my eternal relationship with Krishna or not? I'm a devotee. That doesn't mean anything. Have you actually connected? Has yoga been performed? Has the connection been made? And if not, then we should be a little concerned, and we should be a little more serious. And that was inspiring to me. That this is what this whole thing is. It's preparation for that final test of death. And am I gonna? And then the Bhagavatam lit up. It completely lit up. We read Pralambasura and Krishna swallows the forest fire, and it was unbelievable. Every sentence was tasty. It was so palpable. Is that the right word? Palpable? Yeah. It was so palpable of an experience for me that I'm kind of hung up on it now, that I want to go visit nursing homes and all sorts of stuff, because it's such that was a very palpable experience, and I don't want to lose it. And that's another practical thing. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, go Premanandi, Hari Hari, go.
All glories, all glories, all glories to His grace, Pranahari Das Brahmachari, Hari Hari Bo.